This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. We will start today's session. I'm sharing my screen. So, in yesterday's session, we have discussed something called variables. What is data? What and all we will do with data. So, these are the things we have discussed in yesterday's session. So, basically, all our transactions, all our programmings are all moving towards the data formats only. How we are going to handle the data? What are the different types of data we are using? Those are the driving factor for any program, not only for Java. Whatever program you are doing, it is related to that only. So now,
Uh, Sorry, UV. Sorry to interrupt. If Are you sharing anything on your screen?
by this time, you can see Sutanu is yes. Can you see now?
Now it is coming. Okay, yeah, thanks.
So we will be seeing the different types of data is available in Java. So most of the data types, if you are already aware of any other programming language, it is same here also. But syntax wise, there is some change. Again, we will differentiate this data types. Data type is nothing but how we are going to handle the data. What are the different types available? As I mentioned in yesterday's session, if you are planning to talk about the price of a product, then it is a number. If you are planning to talk about the name of a product, then it is a string. So there are different ways you can do. String means it's a word or sentence, we call it in Java. So now I'm keeping string aside because today's session I'll be concentrating on primitive data types. What is this primitive data types? These are, you should be able to tell what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive data types. So as I told you, if you are planning to deal any of these things, that is number related activities or a character, then those are all falls under the category of primitive data types. Non-primitive data types, so string, people sometimes used to get confused. Okay, they feel that it is a normal data type, the string itself a normal data type. No, it is not like that. So you have to consider string in the oops world only. You have to keep aside the string because it's a big topic, a separate important topic, so I'm keeping that aside. It is a non-primitive data type. This is again your interview question. What is the data type of a string? It is not a primitive data type, it's a non-primitive data type. So that we will keep it aside, we will discuss later. Today's session, we will be discussing about primitive data type. I hope my screen is visible to you guys. So the data type slide is shown and different data types are there. Why we need to have different data types? So you can ask me, you told that number. So end of the day, it is the price of the product, price of a shirt, price of a shoe. It's a number. Why I need these many data type? Data type is nothing but the type of the data which I'm going to handle. So this is the one we have told. But it is a number. End of the day, it's a number. It's a rupees. It is something related to the like a size chart, or it is the length of a room, a breadth of a room, something related to that. End of the day, it's just a number. If it is a number, why we need these many ranges? So first let's take this, like I'm going to group things together, that is these fours: byte, short, int and long. These two data types falls under one category. Then this float and double falls under a second category. So what is this byte, short, int and long? So these are all, we call it as whole number without any decimal point. If you are supposed to handle any data, then we will be using these data types. So again, you may be doing, I told you, right, if you are planning to deal with a number that is shoe size, then it is obviously 9, 10, 11, 12. It won't be more than 20. Like usually even 20 also you won't be finding the shoe size. Just I'm giving some random example. Say maximum of 20 or 25 only would be there. If that is the case, then you can go with the byte data type. You can very well use a byte data type, because my program is going to handle only this particular data range, that is less than 100. So this is the data range you can take. In the negative sign, that usually numbers, both the things will handle, okay, signed and unsigned integers and all you would have learned. So both negative and positive number it is going to handle. In the negative range, it will be handling till minus 128. So how this number they have concluded, let's talk about that also. So here, can you see something called bytes? So I'm going to take you back to your school days. So there are some formulas are all available. 1 byte equal to 8 bits. So this is the formula, like this is the idea behind this bytes logic. So whenever somebody talks in bytes, if you want to convert that into bits, it is 1 byte equal to 8 bits. Again, another mathematical, your school days. So usually what we will do some calculation, just try to brush up yourself. That is, some formulas are there. 2 power n. So I hope you guys still remember. If not, when you find time, these are all your school days mathematical sums only. So 2 power of n minus 1 to 2 power n, this is the range we follow. So here also the same thing they are doing. So 8 I told, right, 2 power of 8 minus 1 to 2 power of 8, this is the range we are using. You can do the calculation also. So 2 power of 8 means, I don't think okay, this is how you will do some calculations. Let me remove all these things. So this is how your calculations will be coming. So 2 power of 8. So this is a max, it is not related to Java, again I'm saying, but if you guys forget, I'm doing it in 1 byte. I will add it inside comments so that it won't throw an error. This is purely not Java concept, this is your school days concept. 1 byte equal to 8 bits. So this is the concept. Again, we will do logics like this. 2 power of 8 minus 1 to 2 power of 8. So this is how we do. So what is this 2 power of 8? It's nothing but 8 times you will do multiplication of 2. 2 into 2 into 2 till 8 times you will do. So do this summations and other things. So when you multiply all these things, you will get this output, whatever it is showing here, right? So you can apply the formula. So 2 power of n, so formula is this. Instead of 8, I'll be putting n. This is the common formula. um, if you can remember your school days, fine. If not, this is the formula. I'm writing the formula also. So 2 power of n minus 1 to 2 power of n. In the case of byte data type, it is 8. So wherever I'm having n in the formula, I'm applying 8 and I'm multiplying all those things. So 2 power of 8 means, I told, 8 times you will be doing this. 2 into 2 into 2 into. So when you do all those things, you will get an answer like this. 128. Okay, so this is what we do. Okay, so 1 minute. 2 power of this one. You can apply the formula and you can very well conclude that. Okay, so now let's go back to our thing. So again you can ask me why here it is 128, why it is 127 here. Both the side it should be 128 only, why it is coming as 127. You can ask me the question. The answer is 0 would be there. So 0 will falls under the category of positive number. So from minus 128 to, it will be like this only, minus 128. You can take the scales, these are all your old school days things only. 128, 127, so it will come like this till it will reach a scale of 0, then it will again start 1 2 3, then it will go like this, then your 127 will come. So this is how we do. So this is, if you count it, it will be 128 number. Again, if you include 0, it will be 128. So that's why you are saying that whenever you are planning to deals with any number that has a range of, like as I told you, less than 100 or less than 128 range, you can very well use this particular bytecode. So how we can use, let's see. Okay, so this is a formula, 2 power of n minus 1 to 2 power of n minus 1. So wherever n is there, I'm applying that. So it will be like this, 8 minus 1 is 7, so 2 power of 7 we have added. So when you do this, 2 into 2 into 2, 7 times when you do, it will be, yeah, 128 will come. Okay, this is done. So now this max and all I'm going to keep it aside, I'm not going to do. So this is just for you to brush up, this is not Java. Okay, this is your mathematical informations. So now let's come back to the Java. So in Java what they are saying, 1 byte, whenever I'm dealing with 1 byte, it will be doing this one. So let's see, I'm having something called shoe price or shoe size. My shoe size is 10. Okay, so here my shoe size is 10, which is coming under this range. So I can very well use the byte data type. Okay, so here I'm going to declare this. I'm going to say shoe price is a variable of type byte. If I want to print it also, I can do. I'm going to run this program now. It is building here at the bottom. Now can you see it is showing 10. But if I want to mention this as int, okay, I'm changing it as int. We will see what is int. Int is providing me 4 bytes. 4 bytes means what? 1 byte itself, I told you, it is 8 bit. Then 4 byte means it is 32 bit. But do I really need a 32 bit? Just do some mathematical operations like 2 into 2 into 2, like 31 times you do it. It is a really a big range. In that big range, I don't need to store 10. But if you want, you can very well use int also. If you run this program, you won't get any error at all. I'm running this code. Output wise, there is no change. Whether you are using a int, whether you are using a byte, there is no change. But there is a issue here. Output wise, no problem at all. But when you define something as byte in your memory, something will happen. That is, allocation will happen. If I use a variable with byte, then only 8 bits will be reserved for me, so that I will have large number of space for the other variables. But in this case, though I am dealing with a less number, shoe size is just 10, to show a small number, I'm utilizing a large memory range. Integer, if I use, means what it is? It is 2 power of 31. Large range I'm using. In that case, I'm unnecessarily occupying or reserving the memory. So I'm not going to use that large range of data. I'm going to use something like 10, 9, 8, something like that. For that kind of variable, it is not good practice to use a large range data type. Output wise, you won't get any error, but the only flaw is you are wasting the memory. That's why whenever you are doing your project design, this we usually do. When you go for any application design and application development at all, we used to have a proper documentation kind of thing. We will have a conversation with the customer and client and SMEs and architects and all. We'll have a proper calls discussion every button. So let's take this site itself, any site if you want. Okay, this site itself. Okay, I'm seeing your names and other things and all. Whenever, so these are all developed by some developer. This one web application we have developed. For any button clicks, for anything, any icon that is showing, we will have some proper discussion with the client end, stating that what is your expectation. I know this is, if you click on it, some log session should happen. What and all you want to log? Do you want to log for me alone, for everyone? So for each and every button, for each and every dots in the screen, we used to have a discussion with the client. Why we are doing this? Because based upon the response from the customer only, we will decide what type of data I can expect. I can expect a data which is less than 100, or I can expect a data which is more than 10,000 or 20,000, 1 lakh or 2 lakh. Customer only can tell, because they are the one who is giving us the requirement. So if you know that, as part of your initial discussion with the customer, if you know that you are going to deal that particular drop down in the application size chart, or if you're going to like shoe size chart, if you click on it, it will show some numbers, right? UK, US, Indian chart, something it will show. Water, maybe it won't go beyond some range. If you know it is going to handle a lower range, then please go for the byte data type, because it will help you to save the memory in the sense the allocations, it will automatically happen. You are not going to say that for this allocate this, for this variable allocate this bytes. No, you're not going to say. Once the JVM see this data type, based upon the data type, it will automatically do, because everything is already predefined. Byte means it is 8 bit, it will reserve the particular space. Whether you are going to use 8 bit or 1 bit, it is different, but it will reserve the place and keep it for you. If you keep on utilizing the memory unnecessarily, then over a period of time, memory will be piled up, and you will get an error at one stage stating that memory out of bound exception. Because you have, for example, you have a hall there, only 100 people can sit. So you have invited 100 guests to your party, but there are some guests who is utilizing 3 chairs to sit, or there's like they're lying also. Okay, they are like instead of sitting in one chair, they're utilizing to keep a bag, to keep something. They are using 2 chairs or 3 chairs. Means, do you think really 100 guests can be uh, accommodated in this particular party hall? No, it is not going to happen. Though there are 100 seats, though there are 100 guests, if you won't utilize the seats properly, then those 100 guests cannot be accommodated properly. One guest to one seat means, yes, it is good. 100 guests can easily sit. If some guests are unnecessarily utilizing 2 seats, to keep their bags, to keep their phones and other things and all, then you cannot accommodate. That is why we say here also, based upon your need, you have to select the data type. If you are really fat, if you can't sit in a single seat, if you in really need of two seat, yes, you can go for a two seat. But you can usually sit in a single seat means please go for the single seat. That's what the recommendation we give in our home functions also, parties also. Same applicable here also. Based upon the data you are handling, if it is with a lesser range, go for the lesser range data type. If you are planning to use a larger range unnecessarily, then your memory is not utilized properly. You are wasting the allocated memory. Then it is will reserved for you. It will say that shoe size is going to use 2 power of 31 range of data. It will reserve and keep it for you. But you will be using only 8 bits of data, so it is wasted. So that is why we always say that have proper discussion with the client in, so that you can decide your code accordingly. Next thing is, say for example you are going to handle some data which is somewhat higher than bytes, that is more than 128 you are planning to deal, then you can go for the short data type. If you are planning to use even more than that, that is 4 bytes of data, 4 bytes means what, 32 bits of data, then you can go for it. So this calculations and all you can do, 2 into 2 till 31 you can do, some numbers will come. So that range of like 1 lakh, 2 lakhs of data if you want to handle, then you can very well use it. If you're planning to use even more than that, okay, something if you want to deals more than integer range, then you can go for this long, that is 2 power of 8. So just sorry, this is 8 byte, right? So it is 8 into 8, 64 bit, 64 bits 2 power of n minus 1. So that formula you can apply and you can very well see what is the range of data you can use. Again, in integer, you have something called signed integer and unsigned integer. If you want to handle positive whole number and negative whole number, yes, you can use this integer formats. Then coming back to this, I'll be showing how to use a short. Okay, the same thing I'm having. No, I don't. I'll declare something as short. So this is a syntax. Byte is a syntax to declare a variable in the byte data type. Short is a syntax to define a variable in the short data type. So short, what we can see, uh, watch price. You can say 500 rupees. You can use this because this 500 is something more than 128, right? So you can use short and you can print it. Say you are planning to deal something more in TV price. Okay, it is 10,000. More than that, if you want, you can use also. Lakh. So you see, this is 1 lakh. So I'm using this int. Can you see? Int is a data type I'm using. Okay? This is what is going to do. Say I'm going to deal with a large range of data. I'm going to copy this. Okay, it's a separate topic. I'm running this first and I'll show you. So if it is just a 10, I'm using byte. If it is more than 128, I'm using short. If I'm planning to do like deals with more than that value, like more than 500 or more than the range of short, then I'm going for a int data type. Okay, so here if I want to handle some more range of data, okay, I have something like rows or even more than that, I can't use int because the int range is 2 power of minus 31 to 2 power of 31. So that is my range. But this is something more than that. So instead of long, I can use something, sorry, instead of int, I can use something called long. If you are planning to use a number which is a higher range, it is more than the integer data type, then you can use something called long. That is a data type. It is available to have a large range of data. Again, whenever you are using the long data type, please give the instruction properly to JVM stating that it is a long data type, so you have to use this L to indicate JVM that this is a long data type and this is the end of the one, so you can handle it. Now let's print and see. Can you see it is printing properly? So based upon the type of the data which you are going to handle, you can pick and choose your own data type. Small means byte. If it is more than 128, number range is more than 128, then you can go for short. If you want further larger range, you can go for int. If you are planning to deal with such a large range of number like this, then you can go for the long data type. Output wise, you can see everything is a whole number only. There is no decimal points. I hope you guys know what are the decimal points. If it is 10, it is fine. If it is 10.0, this is what we call it as decimal points, right? Single decimal point, two decimal point, what are the digits I'm getting after this, we call it as decimal points. Again, this is your mathematics, this is not Java. Okay, so those things we call it as decimal numbers. To handle decimal number, you cannot use any of these four. Byte, short, int, long, you cannot use. For that only we have a dedicated thing called float and double. So again, if you are planning to have a range, that is, till this float will handle till the range of 4. 4 means what it is? 4, it's similar to your int range only, that is 2 power of 31 to 2 power of minus 31 to 2 power of 31 range only. The only thing is, here the float additionally going to handle one more thing. It is not going to see only this area, it is not going to see only this area, it is going to concentrate on the number of digits after the dot. Also after this dot, what are the digits it is going to handle, that is going to differentiate between the float and double. If you are planning to have 7 decimal digits, then go for float. If you are planning to handle more than 7 decimal digits, then go for the double. Let's see that also. So I'm going to reuse the same code. Okay, so it is showing me error. I'm going to change this as float. Okay, so for float I'm using a indication with F. So now it is good. So it is stating that till 7 decimal digits I can use float. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Till that point it is fine. If I want to use a more range of data, then it will throw me an error. In that cases, I can go for double. Okay, if you click on double, automatically can you see the error is gone, because here it is clearly stating double will help me to handle 15 decimal digits. Decimal digits is nothing but this dot is there, right? The right hand side of your dots, the number of digits in the right hand side, that is what they mention it as. 1 minute. Okay, excuse me. So whenever you are planning to have a decimal digits more than 7, you can go for double. Next important data type is Boolean. If you are planning to handle only true or false, that is something you are expecting some output, they are asking you, are you a male? or female. So they're asking, are you a male? So you will give either these two things, yes or no. Or they can ask you some question related to like yes or no related outputs. Whether you are in India, uh, you will say yes or no. So these things, when you are expecting an output as yes or no, that is true or false kind of thing, then you can go for Boolean. I'll be asking some question. So you are attending the class, you will say true or false. If it is true, it is like this is what we'll do. In class, okay, you are going to give me an answer called true. So these type of data, if you're going to give an answer like true or false, then you can go for Boolean. So now you see there is no error at all. So Boolean means it will give only two type of output. Either it is true or false. So those kind of things you can use this Boolean data type. So whenever in your application, when you are developing an application, if there is a case to handle the true or false related concept, then you can very well go for Boolean. Okay. Say no, then the output here it is showing true, right? Next time, if you want, you can change it as false also. Or you in class? No, I'm not in the class. Then it will say false. Say I'm giving something else, not in class, something like that, it won't accept, it will throw you an error, cannot resolve the symbol not in class, because Boolean means it will accept only two output, either true or false. If you try to bring in something else, it won't accept at all. So say I'm giving like this, it will throwing an error. The T should not be the uppercase, the T should be the lowercase. Same thing for the false also, you cannot give something like this. Okay, you have to give lowercase. So Boolean means either true or false. Again, the true and false text should be, the first letter should be a lowercase. That is throughout this thing, that all the letters in the word should be in the lowercase. It should not be in the uppercase at all. So that's what the Boolean data type. And another important thing here is character. So if you are going to deal with only one alphabet, A, B, C, something, only one alphabet, then you can go for the character data type. But this is going to occupy 2 bytes of thing, that is 8 bytes, 16 bits, right? So it will occupy 16 bits for you, but single character only will be saved. So if I'm planning to save something called um batch, C batch, or if you're in a class, your college is there, okay, then your A section, B section, C section, something is there. So if you're going to handle something called A section, only one letter, that is called character, only one alphabet, it's not alphabets. Okay, that if you are planning to have more than one, it is comes under string data type. But if you're planning to handle only one character, then we will be using this char. So this you can use, and you can print it also. So now let's run this and see whether it is printing. How it's printing also you can see. So it's saying section A. Say I'm planning to change this. Planning to say A. It is not allowing, because you can mouse over whenever you see this red color indication means it is an error. You can see red color underline also there. When you mouse over it, it will say that too many character. Can you see? Too many characters in character literal. This is not acceptable. Only one is acceptable. You can give anything. A, B, C, D. All the single letter you can give, but you cannot give a sequence of characters. If you are planning to use a sequence of character, for that you have to use string. That is a different concept. Again, one more difference between the character and string is, so though we say it's a character, the syntax is not character. Okay, we are not going to type like this. We are going to type something called char only. CHAR is the syntax you are going to use. The main difference, what you are going to do is single quote. Okay, if you are planning to deal with a character, you will be using single quote. If you try to add in the double quotes, it will give an error, because only for string we will be using the double quotes, but for the character you will be using single quotes only. Okay, and one important thing is, in your interview they won't be asking a direct question like, tell me about data types, they won't do, because you are all like experienced profile. They will ask questions like, tell about the different literals in Java. Literals, Lite. I'll type this. Okay, literals. So you should not get confused. Literals means the same thing. This are all the literals. What and all you have learned today, these are all the literals. This is the int literal. This is the character literal. So everything is a literal only. So either you can say it as literal, or you can say it as data type. There is no difference between these two. People, to confuse you, they will check whether you know, or you are coming with only the theoretical knowledge. So in that cases, please don't get confused. If they ask something like data types, you can tell directly. If they ask something like literals also, you can answer it. There is no difference. The name, the how they are going to call only, it's going to change, but the content is same only. Any doubt in this section so far? Okay, fine. So we are not going to finish now itself, because integer, we are going to play around the integer. Now I'm going to keep everything aside. Only integer I'm going to do some extra activities. So I was telling you, integers means it will help you to understand the, or help you to handle the numbers. So there is no restrictions that it will handle only a number. There are different ranges of numbers available. Again, your mathematical operations. So when you go for any coding practice, obviously they will ask you for the debugging. In your interview, they will ask you for the debugging also. They will give you a code and they will ask you whether this particular code will run or not. So you should be able to debug the code without typing in your computer, by seeing the paper code itself, a question paper kind of thing. Very rarely that will happen, but nowadays people are asking, like showing you in the like in your screen, they will show you some questions. Choose the best answer. Question number 5, it's whether this code will execute or not. What is the issue in this particular code, they will give you. So you should be able to answer it. Unless and until if you are in a good coding concept, you cannot do it. That's why we are like concentrating on that part. So in the integer, the data types thing also, they will trick something. Okay, they will give you something like this, that is, I want to store the hexadecimal number. I hope you guys know what is this hexadecimal number, octal number, binary numbers. These are all again your school days max only. Okay, so if I want to store int letter, or hexa, I would say hexa number. I want to store this hexadecimal number in a variable called hexa number. Again, let's see what is this hexadecimal number. Okay, it won't allow, because it is a string, right? If I give something inside the double quotes, it's a string, so it won't allow me. So let's see how I can handle this. First, let me try to tell what is hexadecimal number. 1 minute. I'll search and show you. Hexadecimal. Okay, so this is how your hexadecimal chart would be there. So what and all we are doing so far, those are all decimal points. Okay, hexadecimal versus decimal. So we'll see the chart. So just for you to make comfortable, I'm showing this. These are all not your Java. These are all your school days max only. Okay. So here you have something like this. If I take a letter A, means in decimal it is equal to 10, in binaries it is equal to 1010. There is one more thing called octal also. So a, if they are planning to handle a hexadecimal number, it is going to store it as 10 only, because I told you, right, this computer means zeros and ones only. So I want to handle something called hexadecimal, but how can I do it? So it's very simple. Instead of this, you have to give like this. Okay, so what is this is actually doing? I'm going to give instruction to Java that it is not the normal alphabet A. This is not a character, this is not the string, but it is a hexadecimal number. So it won't throw me an error. JVM can easily understand, oh, this is hexadecimal. I thought it is a character, but this is a number only. The only difference is this is the hexadecimal number. So we can do it. Let's run it. Can you see what it is printing? It is printing 10 only. Why it is printing 10? Because it is a hexadecimal. I gave the instruction to Java stating that, hey, leave about everything. Don't take it as a character. This is not the normal alphabet. This is a hexadecimal number. So what it will do? It will do the conversion in the background and it will store it as 10 only. So whichever hexadecimal number which you want to store, A, B, C, whatever may be, you can very well store it. The only thing is you have to properly give the instruction to the program, that is, it is a hexadecimal. This is not the regular alphabet. If you won't give this information, it will throw an error, because for it is a character only. So it will tell you that please change the data type and all, but it is not the case. I am going to deal a hexadecimal number. This itself a number. So number means I have to use the integer, float, whatever maybe the numbers are there, I'm supposed to use it. So I'm going to use. Next thing is, if I'm planning to use the octal, so I don't want to go deep into this, but I'm just saying what are the different options. If you want to deal with some binary numbers like this, I told you for A, 10 is a decimal number, decimal equivalent of 10, sorry, the hexadecimal number in decimal it is 10, and in binary it is 1010. Say I got a requirement to handle. This is again in your regular development in your company. They are a data metrics company, and they are gathering data about different customers. So you cannot expect that always it will be a whole number, always it is a decimal number. There are some cases you will get some decimal points, there are some cases you will get a octal number, there are some cases you will get a binary numbers also. So if you write a code properly, then it should be capable of handling whatever may be the type. Your code should not break, it should not give a wrong output at all. So you should know what are the different ways you can handle different numbers. So binaries means, if I have a situation where I have to deal with binaries like this 1010, I'm having an integer bin, something a binary also I'll give. Okay, I'm defining like this integer binary. If I do like this, see, I I am printing this also. Let's see what it is printing. It is printing 1010, but I don't want 1010. I want the binary, that is the decimal equivalent of this binary. How can I get the decimal equivalent of this binary? Like this, I'm going to change. Now I'm running the same program. Can you see what it is printing? It is printing 10. Where this 10 comes from? For 1010, the binary equivalent is, okay, for this, sorry, for the 1010, the decimal equivalent is 10. So that is what my expectation, and it is happening. How I am able to do it? I'm preceding this actual value 1010 with a two letter, that is 0b. When I precede it with 0b, I'm giving the instruction to Java that, hey, this is not the regular number, this is a binary number, so you have to treat it differently. So it is treating that value differently, and it is storing 10. The same thing will applicable for the octal also. If you are planning to deal with any octal number, then it is again the very simple format. Three digits you have to give, 010, something like that. Then the irrelevant decimal, the equivalent of this will come. So I will take only 2 minutes to explain this mathematics concept. I really doubt whether you guys were able to recollect your school days. Okay, octal means it's all 8. Hexadecimal means it is 16, and binary means it is 2. Okay, this is how we do. And every points here, let's take this one itself. 1010 is coming, right? This is my 0th place. This is again max. Okay, I'm keeping Java aside, I'm going to max now. 1010. So let me put some indexes. This is the 0th position, this is the first position, second position, third position. So this is how your digits will be calculated. The 0th one, first, this is second, this is 3. So it will start from your right hand side and it will traverse. So usually this is the formula: 2 power of 0 plus 2 power of 1 plus 2 power of 2 plus 2 power of 3. This is how we'll do a formula. So when you sum all those things properly, you will get some number. It's a max, pure max. So when you find time, do it. Or if you feel that we are all grown up, we don't need this, yes, that is also fine. You can go for any online converter like this. There are so many things available which will help you to convert your number, that is decimal to binary. Anything you can click. If you want to know that I'm having a decimal number of 10, I want to know the equivalent binary number. I'm not ready to do any calculation at this point of time. I don't have time. We are all grown up. We are not school going kids. Then you see, you can very well use any site. For any decimal number like this, you can get the binary equivalent. So you can change and you can see the binary equivalent. Not only binary equivalent, you can get the hexadecimal equivalent and octal equivalent also. But coming back to our Java, if you are planning to deal with hexadecimal number, if you want to store it in an integer data type, then you have to use like this: 0x, then the actual number. If you are planning to deal with any binary numbers, you have to precede this with 0b. Otherwise, your program will take it as a number itself, 1010. That is 1010 it will print. But you don't want it. You want the decimal equivalent like this. Means you have to use 0b. Then if you want to deal with any octal number, then you have to precede that with 0 and you have to work on it. Any doubt? Any doubt in this? This is good to learn. Okay, so we are talking about from beginner logic to the advanced logic. That's why I'm handing this. Otherwise, we can keep it aside. Okay, next topic is typecasting. So let's see that also. I'm taking two numbers. One is byte b equal to 5 and inter n. Two variables I'm taking. One is, this is b is a variable and n is a variable. For b, I'm storing a number of 5. For n, I'm yet to assign. I'm keeping aside. So whenever I see something called byte, what will this JVM will do? It will allocate something called 1 byte for me. Okay. Whenever this int keyword is seen, then it will allocate 4 bytes to me. So byte means in the memory, one place is reserved for this particular variable b. and that place is going to occupy 1 byte, that is 8 bits it's going to occupy. Whether you're going to use or not, it's different, but it will be allocated. Same thing for the integer, 4 bytes will be allocated and it will be available. Now I'm going to print like this, that is value of b. I'm printing. Let's see what is output. It is 5. Good. I am planning to assign this 5 into this n. So how can you do? You can either do like this and you can print it n equal to 5. Same value. So value of n printing. Let me run this program. So the value of b is 5, the value of n is 5. So both the values are same. Then why unnecessarily I have to do a hard coding here? Okay, this is called hard coding. You are literally you should use either a variable or something else to assign a value. Instead of that, if you are using the direct numbers 5, 10, 20, or if you are giving something like a word, a name of a person, if you have something in that code, then we call it as hard coding. Hard coding is nothing but instead of getting the input from the user, usually that is what we do, right? When you select the size chart from the front end only, you will select the size chart, whether it's 8 or 9 the shoe size, you will select and it should be transferred to the backend code. Instead of doing like that, in backend code itself, without depending on the UI, you are writing that always I will get a shoe size of 8 only. If you do like that, that it's called hard coding. That is not the recommended thing, because it's not possible that always the shoe size of a customer will be 8. You can get customer with different shoe size also. So that's why you should depend on the input from the user end instead of hard coding in the code. For the training purpose, some of the courses we will hard code because we don't have UI now, so everything is a backend code we are doing. So we'll be doing hard coding, but in the real world, please avoid hard coding. Coming back to our discussion, so here I'm saying that b is also holding 5, n is also holding 5. So what I'm thinking is, instead of doing like this, why can't I do like this? That is, I have something called 5 in b that I'm assigning to n. I'm trying. It is also working. Okay. So there is no error at all. In the background, what is happening? The number 5, it is saved in a memory where 1 byte is there. That is now assigned to n, but the size of n is 4 bytes. But still I'm holding a number 5 only. That is fine. So whenever I'm doing these things, let's see what is output now. No change, same thing. The value of b is 5, the value of n is 5. There is no change at all. So but in the memory wise, what is happening? I'm doing something like this particular line. What I'm doing in the 4 bytes, I'm trying to do like this is fine. Let's take an example. You have a water bottle of 1 liter, you have a water bottle of 100 ml. So the water bottle of 1 liter is empty, but in the 100 ml water bottle, you have some water in that. But you are pouring the water from the small water bottle into the bigger one, and it is accepting. Okay, there is no problem at all. You are able to fill the bigger one without any issue. Same thing is happening here also. The smaller one information is added into the larger one. So this is called typecasting. What is this typecasting? Byte is of one type, integer is of another type. Both are different data types. You are able to assign the data of one data type into the data of another data type. This is called typecasting. You are able to do it. You are casting the types and it is working fine. This is called implicit typecasting. That is, Java itself is able to handle it. It is not giving me any error at all, because this is the larger one, this is the smaller one. From a small bottle, I'm able to pour the water into the bigger one. So there is no problem at all for me. So just similarly for Java, there is no problem because already I have 4 bytes of memory. So you are going to assign a small range only. It is not creating any problem at all. I'm getting a proper output. This is called implicit typecasting. Say for example, I want to do the vice versa. That is, I am having something called, so I'm going to, any doubt in implicit? Fine. Now I'm going to reverse this process. I'm going to remove this. Okay, I'm removing. So now I have a value of 5 in n. For B, I don't have any value at all, but I'm going to do like this. I'm printing this. Then in B, I'm planning to assign n. Okay, that is, in 1 byte, I'm going to assign the 4 bytes of data. Okay, so let's again the same example. The 1 liter water, you are trying to pour it in 100 ml water bottle. Will it accept? No. The water will be wasted. Only the capacity is 100 ml. It will just hold that only. It can't hold more than that. So obviously it will mess up the things. Similarly here, when you try to deals with more range of data, it is throwing an error. Okay, can you see? There is a problem. Cast the type is not matching. The byte data is trying to get the information from integer data. That is not acceptable. So I have to somehow do, because I end of the day I want to store the data, I want to do some short term fix. Okay, so I'm going to do typecasting. So what I'm going to do, temporarily I'm converting this n as a byte data type, and I'm assigning the value. Now my error is gone. I'm not getting any error at all. This is called typecasting, and this is explicit typecasting. Yes, I'm writing a code here. Previously, it doesn't ask me any code at all. There is no error at all. It was able to handle the code properly. But now, can you see it is giving me error? So I have to fix the error. How can I fix the error? I have to write the code for it. Explicitly, I'm doing a typecasting here. I am temporarily converting this integer data type variable as a byte data type, and I'm able to assign it. It's nothing but you're squashing your 1 liter water bottle into small, and you will pour the water, like you will fill the water, and that water you're going to fill it in the 100 ml water bottle. Temporarily you are reducing the size, or you are pouring only like 50 ml of water into the 1 liter water bottle, and you are transferring that to a 100 ml. That's what you are doing here. Okay, that is working fine. Let's run and see the output. Good. We are getting a proper output. There is no change. So let's recollect what we have learned. Typecasting means when you are trying to assign a variable of one data type into the variable of another data type. That is called typecasting. When you do, in your screenshot, let's go back to the screenshot. When you try to assign the variable of byte data type or short data type into integer, it won't give any error at all, because this is a 4 bytes and you're trying to assign the lower range. It won't create any issue at all. This type of typecasting is called implicit typecasting. Java itself will handle it. But if you do the reverse way, that is, when you try to assign the variable of integer data type into short, when you try to assign the value of that variable integer data type into the byte, then it will create the problem, because this is all small bytes of memory available. You cannot push the larger one. Okay, this is called explicit typecasting. Like it will create a problem, you have to write a code, you have to temporarily change it as I made. Like you have to use a bracket in front of the variable, and you have to say that please convert that as byte temporarily, so that this variable can accommodate, because this variable is byte, right? So I'm changing it as byte and doing. Okay, the same thing if you have, say for example, I'm changing this as short. Short means what it is, 2 bytes. In this case also, if I try to assign, it will create an error. So in this case, what I can do, I can temporarily convert this as a short and I can assign. This is called explicit typecasting. Any doubt in this? Reverting the change. Okay.
One doubt, UV. So
Please
suppose
tell.
if I want, yeah, yeah. So if I am holding a suppose 1 lakh data in int, and then I am
Mhm.
trying to typecast it to bytes, so will it hold until that
Yes.
128
No,
range?
it won't. That is the next topic we are going to see. Okay, it won't.
Okay.
Okay. So in byte, say for example, I am having like a byte means is a smaller range only, right? If you do a 1 lakh of, there is a 1 lakh of data. Okay, if you do like this, in program compilation it won't create any problem, but when you print output, it won't create, provide you the actual, it will give you a junk data. It's a good question. Okay, so now the value of n is printing properly. Can you see the value of n is printing properly? I'm doing a typecasting also here. So compilation time it is not giving me any error. I did a explicit typecasting. But the capacity of B is just a 8-bit. It cannot accommodate more than that. So it will give you a junk data only. It will give you a wrong data only. So the good practice is avoid typecasting. As I told you in the beginning of the session itself, please have proper discussion with the SMEs, that is subject matter experts, and with the client, and have a proper clarification that what is the range of data you will get from them. Then based upon the range, you can define the variable itself properly. Instead of having this as byte and later converting it as something else, you can very well go with the corresponding data type which match with your actual requirement. Is it clear? Did I clarify your
Yeah,
query?
yeah. Yeah. Thanks. So basically, explicit typecasting is like not recommended due to this, right?
Yes. If
Okay.
you're very sure, if you're very sure that I'm going to have a data with a short range only, okay, like
Oh,
5,
okay.
10, or less than 128, this you can very well go for it, no problem. So if I give a number with 122 here, and if I run it, I'm running the program, it won't create any problem for me because it is within the range
Mm,
of byte. If it is beyond the range only, it is a problem. Okay,
okay.
sometimes it will even create issue. 1 lakh means you got that output, right? Giving one more thing, can you see this? Previously at least it
Yeah.
gave the answer 0, but now it will give something weird, some junk data it will create, and it will create a problem also. So avoid it. If you are sure
Okay.
that you know the range, go for the typecasting. If you are not clear about it, avoid it. Instead of that, change the type of the variable itself.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, you.
Yeah, welcome. Any doubt in today's session? Okay, so with this, I'm ending today's session. So from only one student, I've received the yesterday's lab activity. So it will be good if everyone can start working on that, so that you can work on the actual programming also. So theoretical knowledge alone won't help you guys. So unless and until you do some small coding, you will forget. The actual idea behind that is, it should not, you should not forget your training. That is the actual idea. That's why I'm giving small tasks. That is not big, like complex task also I'm sharing with you guys. Okay, so the today's task is, try to, okay, create a variable of integer and float and character boolean. Okay, for these four data types, create variable, that is int a semicolon. That's it. Okay, I'll share my screen also quickly. This is again for one of the interview question I'm doing. Is my screen visible? Wait, I'm sharing.
Uh, yeah, not yet.
I hope my screen is
Yeah,
visible.
now it is coming.
Okay, I want to do like this: int a and float b and what else? Okay, already a variable b is there or what? Here. And um, boolean something. Okay, you can come up with your own variable name. Just I'm randomly giving. Okay, character, um, something like this. So I'm just, can you see, I'm not assigning any value. I didn't say that int a equal to 1 at all. I'm just saying int a and try to print it. Print like this: value of, I wrote the code also partially, but I want you to try by yourself once, because this is for your interview preparation. Let's see. So write something like this for everything. For here also you can have one print statement. For boolean also you can have a print statement. For character also you can have a print statement. So what we are going to achieve using this lab statement is, this is our interview question: what is the default value of a integer data type? Default value means what? If a user doesn't assign any value like 1, 2, 3, if they didn't assign any value, the Java itself will assign some value to it. What is that value? You should be knowing that. So today's lab exercises: create four variables, one from integer, another from float, another from boolean, another from character. And you can try for everything also if you have time. I've shown you that data types ppt, right? So you can choose anything. Okay, and try to print the default value, that is without assigning any value. Try to print the value of the variable and see what is coming. So this will make you to answer for that interview question: what is the default value of an integer, what is the default value of a float, what is the default value of a boolean. Is it clear, today's lab activity? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so good. If you are clear, if you don't have any doubts, thank you all, thanks for joining. I'm ending today's session here. If you have any doubt, please stay back. I'll be available and I'll be clarifying your doubts.